Good Wednesday evening. I'm Chief Meteorologist Emily Walls, and we had a pretty gloomy day across the area. Not a bad thing because we do really need the rain across the region, of course, and it really wasn't the soaker that we could use. But for those of you hoping for some more rainfall, we definitely have it in store for us. But unfortunately, it's going to fall right on our weekend plans. So Saturday and Sunday both looking a little rainy and also windy, and we have a very strong cold front that's going to be coming through the area this weekend. So we're going to be talking about that. Also, I'm going to dive into our October stats so far. So back at the very end of September, the Climate Prediction Center put out an outlook for the month of October, predicting that it was likely going to be above average. We were strongly favored to see above average conditions. And so far, that's how things are stacking up. So we're going to break it down day by day for you. And then also, I'm going to take you way out west to the Sierra Nevada mountains, where very, very heavy snow has been falling. It's finally begun to taper off there. So those winter storm warnings are no longer in effect. But the snow totals have been very, very impressive. So I'm going to show you that as well. First, let's start here at home and talk about the 24-hour rainfall totals. So yesterday, around this very same time, when we were tracking the system moving in, I was telling you that it's not really looking like it's going to be all that impressive. And that's exactly what we're dealing with here. These rainfall totals just a trace to about 1/10 of an inch for a lot of us. And those of us that actually did pick up near 1/10 of an inch, it was just a few fractions of us. Again, most areas not much to speak of. In Chicago, in southern Cook County, we saw about 1/10 of an inch of rain, close to 1/4 inch of rain up in Lake County, but otherwise, everyone else, it really just did not amount to much. Satellite and radar, if we zoom things out now, we're done with the rain for now. We do have another storm system that's well to our west, and that's eventually going to be approaching the area, bringing us that rain chance as we go into this upcoming weekend. But the next couple of days, they seem to be fairly quiet around here, and that's thanks to high pressure. And you can see that high pressure system that's just kind of spinning away off to our north. We've got that clockwise flow right around that. We're looking at this diving to the south here over the next day and a half. So that's going to help to clear out our cloud cover and keep things a little calm around here. So Futurecast taking us throughout this evening and tonight. We still have a little bit of cloud cover out there, but we're starting to see the clouds thinning out. That's going to be the plan throughout the overnight. And then tomorrow we're planning on skies becoming partly cloudy. So we'll end up seeing some sunshine for your Thursday. We wake up tomorrow, however, to at least some higher level clouds that are going to be across the region. And your temperatures tomorrow morning, they look really nice. We're going to be waking up to the low 50s, which, by the way, is above normal. Your average low temperature for this time of the year is right around about 45 degrees. So we're going to be above that tomorrow morning, getting a head start to the warmth. And then during the afternoon, notice how we're starting to see those winds changing to have a southerly wind component. So we're not quite looking at southerly winds tomorrow. They're going to be more east-southeasterly, but we're moving in the right direction if you like the warmth, that is. We're looking at upper 60s for your highs on Thursday. Again, a decent amount of sunshine expected during the afternoon. And then going into Friday is when we have to start at least keeping a lookout for a couple spotty showers being possible. Very small chance in the morning hours, but I think we see a much better chance of rain going into the nighttime hours. But even here and there during the afternoon, the evening, if you have Friday evening plans, you could be dodging just a couple raindrops. But really take notice of the map here, and you'll see that the coverage is very minimal during the daytime hours. But once that cold front that you see off to our west gets a little bit closer to us as we go into our Saturday, we're going to see more and more rain developing out ahead of that cold front. So we're looking at showers, thunderstorms. There's actually a chance of severe thunderstorms well south of us, places like Mississippi. But for us here at home, I think we're going to have a couple claps of thunder. We're going to have a few showers and thunderstorms, so some heavy downpours being possible. But I am not at this point expecting any severe thunderstorms as we go into your Saturday. Let's talk rainfall totals again, because we really do need the rain. We've been dealing with drought-like conditions for quite some time now, but we should start to see at least some relief as we go into this weekend, because just on Saturday alone, a lot of models are bringing us pretty close to about a ½ inch, almost area wide, with that rain moving through. Again, heavy downpours certainly going to be possible on Saturday, but we're not done with the rain on Saturday. We're likely going to see a whole nother push as a low pressure system develops nearly right overhead. So that's going to expand that rainfall again Saturday night and then into the first half of our Sunday. So that's going to bring us additional rainfall amounts. Here's a look at Futurecast rainfall all the way through this upcoming weekend. And again, we do have that very small chance of rain on Friday, but most of this is going to be falling falling on Saturday, on Sunday. So if you have outdoor plans, you might want to come up with some alternatives, especially if your plans are outdoors on Saturday. I think that's going to be the rainier day of the two. But then on Sunday, we're still going to wake up to rain across the region. And even though we start to see a drying pattern through the day, it's coming with a little bit of a catch. So we have that cold front moving through, which means falling temperatures. So we're going from 70s for your highs on Saturday down to about 60 for your high on Sunday. And you're probably thinking, okay, that doesn't sound so bad. But I think that high temperature of 60 is likely going to be in the morning. And then we drop into the 50s during the afternoon, and the winds on Sunday are expected to be pretty gusty as it stands right now. And we're still a few days off, so we're going to fine tune this forecast. But the winds very easily going to be gusting over 30 miles per hour on Sunday. So you tack that on with temps only in the 50s, a little bit of rain in the air, and it's going to not feel like the greatest day outside on Sunday. Here's a look at the latest drought monitor. So these are issued every Thursday morning. We're going to get an updated round of data coming out tomorrow morning. But as it stands right now, this is what it's showing. With southern LaSalle County in a severe drought that you see highlighted in orange there. The tan is representing a moderate drought, which is most of northeastern Illinois. And then all other locations that you see highlighted in yellow, we have a small pocket up in McHenry and far northern Lake County near the Wisconsin border. And then throughout the south suburbs into northwest Indiana, that's considered to be abnormally dry. So we're not quite in those drought status just yet for those of us that are highlighted in yellow, but we're getting very close. And I know that that new data is going to come out tomorrow morning. We're probably not going to see this getting any better. But next week, I think we'll see some improvements just based on all of the rain that we have in the forecast this upcoming weekend. So let's dive a little bit deeper here when it comes to rain and how far behind we are. This is the percentage of normal rainfall that we've received over the last 30 days. And we've actually seen some improvements here. The numbers are beginning to look a little bit better, but there's a lot of us that are still only between 50 and about 75% of normal. So that's why we are still in this deficit. And of course, whenever you're talking about drought or the drought monitor, it compounds over time, right? So this is just a reflection of the last 30 days here, and we've received 50 to 70% in most cases of the normal rainfall. But all summer long, we've been dealing with abnormally dry conditions, if not a couple pockets of moderate drought. So this has been a several months long event that we've been going through. Now, talking specifically about October, I mentioned this at the very beginning of the show that the Climate Prediction Center back in September issued a map that was showing that we were likely going to see above average conditions throughout the month of October. And what this is showing you here, this calendar view, is every single day so far this month that you see highlighted in orange, that's representing above average conditions. Now, for the days that you see from the 7th through the 11th where they're highlighted in gray, that just means that it's near average. So it's within a degree or two of what's considered to be the average for that date. And again, today, temperatures, while we weren't necessarily above average with a high temperature of 61 degrees at O'Hare, we're still going to come in the books as near average because your average high temperature for today is 64, so we're very close to that. Your high temperatures elsewhere, we did hit 65 degrees in LaSalle, 66 in Kankakee, 65 in Rensselaer, 63 in Merrillville, made it to 62 degrees in Valparaiso, 60 in Aurora, 63 the Chicago lakefront, but only 50s across the far west suburbs, places like DeKalb, and for those of you closer to the Wisconsin border, Woodstock as well as Waukegan only came in the upper 50s today. Your 5-day forecast, we're looking at upper 60s for your highs on Thursday, so we're warming things back up tomorrow. Again, we're going to be breaking into some sunshine tomorrow. It looks like a really pleasant afternoon, and then Friday and Saturday, temps are going to soar into the 70s, and this is despite cloud cover, despite rain in the forecast, but we're going to have a pretty strong southerly wind flow. So that's transporting that much warmer air mass. So low 70s expected Friday and Saturday, but soak it up because we have that strong cold front moving through, and that's going to bring temps down to about 60 for your high on Sunday. Again, daytime highs on Sunday very, very easily going to drop into the 50s. And then on Monday, we're back up into the mid 60s. So on average, the next 5 days or so, we're still doing pretty well, because your average high is 63, and Friday and Saturday are really going to offset that below average day on Sunday. So your temperature outlook looking beyond the next 5 days. So this is from the 21st through the 25th, which I believe is Tuesday through Saturday of next week, and you can see that we're still slightly favored to see above average conditions. So next week there's a lot of ups and downs with the temps. We're going to have a couple days that probably come in a little shy of average, but the majority of the days I still think we're going to end up a little bit warmer. And then looking even farther into the month, this is taking us all the way out to October 29th, and we're still favored to see those above average conditions. So as it stands right now, I don't really think that this pattern is going to break anytime soon. So the next 10 days, we've already covered the next 5. Notice if you jump into next week, we see several days in the 60s to kick off the week, briefly dropping into the 50s by the middle of the week. So those could potentially be our cooler than average days before we get right back up to the 60s, the 70s possibly going into not this weekend, but next weekend. Take a look at this. This is pretty impressive here. So yesterday we were talking about how the National Weather Service had actually issued its very first winter storm warning of the season, and that was in the Sierra Nevada mountains. And this is why. Take a look at these totals here. Some areas in the higher elevations picking up as much as 2 to 3 feet of snow in the last 2 days. Notice some of those higher peaks picking up close to 28 inches was estimated by the radar here. So very, very impressive totals, and 'tis the season, because now that we are, of course, in the month of October, going into November soon, you know, it's that time of the year that we're going to start to see some pretty impressive totals on the mountains out west. Temperatures here at home right now, a lot of us are sitting in the upper 50s to low 60s, and these numbers really haven't moved all day long. And the reason for that is, one, we've been kind of locked in with cloud cover. Now you can almost see behind me, there's a couple breaks in the clouds over the city, but we do have east-northeasterly winds coming right in off of the water. The water right now, temps are in the 50s, so that's going to hold temperatures at the lakefront in the 50s tonight. We're only dropping down to about 53, and we'll have east-northeasterly winds right around 5 to 10 miles per hour. Now, forecast low temperatures elsewhere. I do think that we're going to see the occasional upper 40s popping up here, but most areas are likely looking at lows in the lower 50s, and that's going to put us several degrees above average. Average sits at 45. So your out the door forecast for your Thursday, temps are going to be very pleasant in the morning, waking up in the 50s. We're going to wake up to mostly cloudy skies, but then quickly lose the cloud cover. So skies are going to become partly cloudy. We're up to 60 by 10, and eventually we're counting on highs that are going to be in the upper 60s to low 70s. 3-day forecast for you, upper 60s tomorrow, decreasing cloud cover, and then increasing cloud cover on Friday. And of course, we are seeing all of that rain that's set to move in on Saturday, and then it gets chilly on Sunday. I will have your full 7-day forecast coming up very soon on Fox 32 News at 9 p.m. We'll see you then.